I am Carla Bosch, and I am an acrylic artist.
Hello, and welcome to AART, the podcast where we get to know women from around the world of visual arts. I'm Chris Stafford, and this is Season 2, Episode 36. My guest this week is the South African acrylic painter Carla Bosch, whose vibrant colours and bold strokes trademark her unapologetic style. Her landscape paintings represent a wide range of nature's palette, uniquely capturing its light. Carla was born in Pretoria in 1976 to Anton, a pharmacist and amateur artist, and Ronald Gerrick, a homemaker and keen musician. She has a sister, Marentia. Carla describes her childhood spent enjoying family hikes around South Africa as happy and loving. Her father encouraged an interest in art, and she would follow his lead as she explored different mediums. Carla studied interior design at the University of Pretoria, and although she says she has always had high energy and a limited attention span, she soon found that art would fully absorb her as a self-taught artist. By the age of 25, she found herself a full-time artist, and with the help of her husband Elroy, Carla now operates a successful business with clients around the world. The couple moved to the US in 2013, spending 5 years in California before relocating to Texas. Carla is represented in galleries in France, the UK, South Africa, and Texas. Carla has 2 children, Sarah and Daniel, and lives with her husband Elroy and their chocolate labradoodle, Jamie, in Austin, Texas. Carla, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so very much, Chris.
Now, I know you've discovered the show recently and you've been listening to some of your friends, some of the artists out there that you've got to know a little bit, but now you've really got to know them.
Yes, that was wonderful to listen to some of, other peers that we are painting so many events together and listen to their stories and their background and the way they're thinking. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think you really have a wonderful show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad that you can join me because I discovered you, I think, on Instagram, as so many artists are on Instagram, and saw that your work, very vivid colors, very bold art, Carla. I really, really enjoyed your the dynamism and the energy in your artwork. Would that describe you as a person? Are you energetic and dynamic?
Yes, absolutely. I think, I really think that what is happening inside of us is really coming out in our work. And yes, absolutely. I do get a lot of feedback of, when people are looking at it, talk about the happiness and the joy in it and the contentness and whatever. And it's really true in my life as well. I am a vibrant personality and yes, I think there's a lot of reflection in our work. I see it a lot, even in students, and they will say, "Oh, I really wish I could paint this way." And then I say, "But you are so much more like this. You're more a quiet personality, and that's why your work is so soft and beautiful. And there's something that comes out in your personality, through your personality. I think in your work, absolutely." So, yes.
And of course, you come from a very colourful background in terms of the landscapes of Pretoria, South Africa, where you grew up. Would you say those colours in your environment influenced you as well in your early days as an artist?
Yes, absolutely. I think so. I mean, South Africa in a whole is a really beautiful, really, really beautiful country that I think every person has to have on their bucket list to go visit. It's such a extraordinarily beautiful place, and very colorful, beautiful light. It's really lovely. Pretoria itself's got beautiful purple flowers. A certain time of the year in October that's really beautiful. There's plenty of jacaranda trees, they call them, that's planted everywhere, and it's really beautiful. it's probably a combination of, I think, also how you see life, and yeah, I think life is quite vibrant to me. So I enjoy seeing all the beauty in everything. So that's probably more that than just only a place or a country, but it surely did have an influence or had an influence.
Now, you're living in Austin, Texas now. So what do you miss about the landscape of Pretoria? How does it compare to Austin, Texas?
Well, Texas is actually very, very similar in a way, especially to our country's bushveld area, where we are here in the hill country. It's very similar, the habitat, and we feel very welcome here. But I do miss Cape Town's beautiful mountains sometimes. But I have to say that, this country offers a lot of incredible landscapes. So yeah, you cannot really compare. It's very different, but yeah, it will always be my home country, South Africa. So there's certain things that just speak to your heart. We've got beautiful wine country in Cape Town. We have wonderful bushveld areas, where the safaris and things will happen if you will go visit. But it's what a wonderful place. Yeah, so South Africa is a wonderful, wonderful place with very warm people and very welcoming people. So yeah, we just love the country.
What do you miss about it, Carla, now you live here?
Yeah, I would say the culture, our language. Our language is a huge thing. I didn't think I don't think I really realized how much of your culture is also in your language, and it is something that I really miss. We still speak it every day in our house with our kids and with my husband every day. So it's still part of who we are. But it's wonderful when we go back and you just hear other people in the street speak your language. So yeah, that's something I think I miss probably the most. And then yeah, certain landscapes and areas that we love to visit, and the beauty all around that is different in a sense, just because it belongs to your heart, I think. So yeah, it's but there's the warmness of the people. It's a wonderful place. So yes, there's a lot of goodness.
Are your parents still living, Carla?
Yes, my parents both live there. My sister lives there. All our family are still back there. So lots of friends that we have. So whenever we go back, we really enjoy all our people. So yeah, everybody is still there.
Now, you're one of two girls. You said you have a sister, Marentia, and your parents, Anton and Ronelle Garrick. Your father was a pharmacist and your mother a stay-at-home mum. So what was early childhood like for you?
Oh, I have a wonderful child life. I was quite free and careless, I think. And my dad was a pharmacist, and he was quite busy at the pharmacy. But whenever he was back home, it was a real pleasure to have him around. He really a wonderful personality, and he was an artist himself. He painted. He painted for a hobby back in the days, and he, as soon as he would come home, he would go into an area with what that he created, where he would paint it just to calm down and relax a little after a long day of work. And so I grew up seeing him painting a lot, and he taught us a lot about art. Made us aware. When we were on the road, he would always point out, look how beautiful the sky is, look how beautiful the mountains, see how the light falls on the mountains, and just made us aware of the beauty of life. So that was really a wonderful part of growing up, and have someone that really see the beauty in life and made us aware of it. So that was wonderful. And then my mom was creative herself as well. She made lots of clothes, and she just loved crocheting and all of those. So I grew up in an environment where it it was good to create. And I think that was wonderful. And yeah, I was one of those children. I think that, I don't think so. I'm very aware of the fact that I really struggled to concentrate. So I was, one of those children in school also that would be more of a problem child for the teacher, that didn't fit in the typical school system, just because, the creative brain was also always looking outside of the window and dreaming of something else. So I think that was, also just part of who I am. And today, part of the story of, even to be that kind of child that struggles at school to concentrate. And, there's lots of hope after that as well. So, yeah, that was, but I really had a really wonderful child life. I was happy. I laugh a lot. And yes, it was just good. I also grew up in an environment where I was really loved by my parents, my sister, and everyone, and extended family, obviously. So yeah, I had a great child life.
How about your grandparents on either side? Were you close to them?
Yes, I had wonderful grandparents. My mom just died last year, the one that that lived the longest, and she was almost 98 years old when she passed away. And yeah, what a wonderful lady. And yes, they were close by most of my upgrowing. And my one grandma was also a very good cook, so I learned a lot from her as well. And I think inherited some love for the kitchen as well. So I really do love baking and cooking, and really enjoy the kitchen a lot. So I think I learned a lot from that from her. And yes, my other grandma was she and her husband was in hotels. They how do you say that?
Hoteliers?
Yeah, well, yeah, they run hotels, and very, very upper class hotels in the country. So yeah, my grandpa actually served the Queen in his day, so it was quite a special story. He was chosen to serve the Queen when she visited South Africa, so that was very special. And yeah, they had a real big success in the hoteling industry. And yeah, so my dad grew up in hotels, and so yes, I had wonderful family, and miss them a lot. Absolutely.
What would you say you learnt most from your family, your upbringing, your childhood, Carla, that's carried you through life?
I think the power of love, to just, if we know that we are loved and accepted, we can go so much further, as it is always a big desire for all of us, very important to be recognized and loved. I think, I really can say that I grew up with a dad and a mom that really, just loved me and accept me for who I was. And yeah, I think that can take us through absolutely far through life, and give us a confidence and a contentness. And yeah, I think it helps to shape us for who we are. So yes, I think that is probably the biggest thing.
We often think of South Africa as the big outdoor country because the outdoors is so beautiful. But were you spending a lot of time out as a child outside, or what sort of activities were you interested in?
Oh, yes. I loved it outside. I mean, I spent many times just even in our own garden and just dreaming and being on a swing or something like that. But also as children, I think since I was 10 years old, we were my parents had a friend group that we were invited to often, like almost monthly at a stage, to go do hiking trails. And we travel all over the country to do the most amazing hiking trails. Then it would be a little different where we'd sleep over. So it would be like a 5-day hiking trail or a 3-day hiking trail. And we would, take all our food and everything with and carry a big backpack with, even although I was so small. It was a wonderful learning curve, just for being more aware of nature, but also to organize all your stuff for this trip and know where everything is packed in your bag. And what a wonderful experience. I'm always looking back to that and so grateful for that experience. It was absolutely wonderful, and we saw so much of our country. And spend more time, it's not just driving by or it was like hours and hours of walking in nature and soaking up the beauty of it. And it was absolutely a privilege, and very grateful for that. As a child, we spent lots and lots of time out in nature and campfires and whatever you can think of. It was just lovely.
Sounds like a very happy childhood. And this may have inspired you to paint au plein air, because I know you do enjoy being outdoors with your art.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting. I never did plein air when I was younger. I first started painting. I was probably 21, 22 years old when I really started painting like full-time professional. And I always, as we were living in South Africa, I painted in the studio, and plein air was not such a big thing in South Africa back then. And I had many galleries that bought from me and the art directly. And so there was always work. There was always a waiting list for work to be painted. And then when we moved to the States, it all changes because the art scene was so different. And for us coming, from quite a success back in South Africa here, and it's as if you were born yesterday and no one would know that you can even paint or whatever. We had to find a way to get into the art world, and then discovered after a few years that this plein air thing is quite something. So let's try to get into that. And then I think with all the experience that I had over the years painting in the studio and had all the hours of brushwork already, and then came to the States and start going outside and start painting. And I could already paint, and I already had the experience of the brushwork, and now I could just use that and start painting what I see outside. And that was quite a lovely experience for me, and a new discovery, and really enjoy it right now. And it's a season for us where we really put in a lot of effort with the plein air. But that was not something that I grew into as a younger artist. It was something that I just started doing the last 5 years. So it's quite new actually to me. So.
But you studied interior design at the University of Pretoria. I'm wondering if you had any art education as well that has benefited your painting.
Yes, no, I did not. Actually, I think, my dad, again, played a big role in showing me a lot and teaching me a lot and showing me the beauty in life. And when I was done studying interior design, I really realized, but this is not what I wanted to do. The course was also much more architectural, and it was not, I thought it was more, interior focused and, make places beautiful, but it was not at all that. And then I said, I was very inspired by a lady artist that we knew back in South Africa. Her name was Isabella Leroux, and my dad took me to one of her exhibitions, and I thought, wow, if she can do this, I'm sure I can do this too. And I just started painting. I actually went one day up in we had a little small roof room that I locked myself in, and I said, I'm just going to splash some paint here on a canvas. And I mean, I did paint at that stage. It was not new to me, but it was just, I just want to be free and take all the fear factors out of the way, and just no one will see this. I often tell students that go into a space where you can lock the door, and decide that you're not going to show this painting to anyone, and just splash on paint and do it in a short period of time, and just enjoy yourself. And it's then when all those fear factors is out of the way, and then you can really discover who you are and what you enjoy to do, and the freeness of it. And then I always tell also the students that, the idea will be to throw it away, but it will be probably the one that you love the most, just because you were so free and so fearless, taking the cheapest canvas you can get, and take all the fear factors. People sometimes feel like, oh gosh, what if I mess up this canvas? Or but if we take all that fear factors away, then it actually happens. And so I just went into that room that I did that, and really enjoyed it, and start slowly but surely getting myself into the art world by keeping on pushing in, and yes, and it happened for me, and I'm really, really grateful, and had many great successful years of art for the last 26 years now, I would say. So very grateful for it. But I didn't study it, just to come back to your, not at all. I'm more of a self-taught artist. And I think also, as I said earlier, I had those many years where galleries ordered some work from me, and I did hours and hours and hours of painting. And I think that was more my season of growing and learning, where I really learned to use the brush and be very consistent painting every single day of my life. And I tried to not work over weekends. And, obviously I had children through the years, and it's quite a challenge, but yes. So, but yes, I didn't study it. I'm self-taught, and I'm kind of also grateful for it, because, I think sometimes when we study, and it's different for different people, but in my case, I'm kind of glad. I will always still have so much to learn, and learn as I go through life. But there's some of that freeness that I am so grateful for. When we study something, they sometimes do push us into a certain direction, and there's certain things that you have to do and must do, and where I never had that. Nobody ever told me, don't do this, don't do that. Where there's a freeness, and many young students will ask, how do you get that? How do you get that freeness? And it's difficult to undo some very strict training to get that absolutely freeness. So and authenticity, I would say. So I'm very, very grateful for that, but I have so much to learn still. So, it's a absolute constant learning curve, probably for the rest of your life. So.
You remember the first time you were selling your paintings, Carla, what they were and how you were feeling about selling your first ones?
Yes, yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, when I was just very young, I probably fifth grade or something like that, my dad took me to a oil artist that gave some lessons, once a week, and I painted some art there, and even I think even later on, some of those were selling. But I specifically remember that when I was young, and still in my mom and dad's house. I would paint and do some drawings and things there on my room, in my room on the floor, would sit there and play around. And my dad would come by and he said, "Oh, give me that. I will take it to the gallery." He had a little gallery just above the pharmacy, and he said, "I will put it up in the gallery. Perhaps it can sell." And then 3 weeks later, he will come by and throw some money at me and say, "Oh, here's some money for you. This painting you gave me last week sold today." And it was like, oh wow, it's actually somebody wants what you are creating, and it's such a joy. And yeah, through the years, I would say, especially in the beginning, it's really wonderful, I think, for a young artist to realize that people love what you did, and they want to hang it in their house to make them happy for the rest of their life, or for at least a long time. And and if I think of how much money people are putting out to have beautiful art in their house, original art, it's such a privilege for us to have something as artists to give, a little piece of who we are that creates an atmosphere in someone else's house. So yeah, it is absolutely a privilege if anyone wants to buy your art and have it part of their lives. So yeah, it's very special. It was wonderful back then to also experience that, and also experience that we can make some money out of what we love. So that was great. Grateful for my dad to show us that. So that was good.
And it was always in acrylic, was it, apart from your early childhood, pencil sketching and colored?
When I was very small, as I said, my dad took me to this. My dad always worked in oils, and he took me to an oil artist that showed. Yeah, I had some training in oils, and then after I was done with school, me and my dad once went to a guy in Neisner. Dale Elliott was his name. He also passed away a few years ago, sadly. But and he did show us how to do underpainting under oils with acrylics, and then you do quite a big part of the painting with acrylics, and then you do your darkest darks, your lightest lights over it with the oils, and I really started doing that and absolutely enjoyed the acrylic so much. And when I was done with my acrylic part, I was like, well, why do we want to go over this with oil? I really love it already. And it's, it's so immediate. It dries quickly, and I absolutely fell in love with the acrylics. And just since then, that's now probably 28 years ago, I just keep on working with the acrylics, and really found ways to enjoy this medium that really dries quickly, even outside in plain air. That is really a struggle for most artists, and they give up very quickly on painting outside with it because it dries so quickly. So yeah, and I found ways to make it work, and absolutely love it. And I also love the fact that it dries so quickly, because it forces you to work faster and looser, and so yeah, that is wonderful. So now I'm absolutely only working with acrylics for the last 27 years, but I was taught in oils.
So when you were discovering art in the public setting and traveling with your parents to museums, maybe in galleries and so on, this was in South Africa. Did you ever go to Europe and see any art?
No, we never traveled. When I was a child, we never traveled out of the country. And my dad would sometimes took us to galleries specifically, or just not especially take us there. We would be visiting a mall, and he would see a gallery, and he would say, "Oh, come, let's go look at the art." And he would sit there. He will even take a chair or something, and we were bored to death, just by how he would show us all this art, and where the sun will fall, and look how beautiful this is, and wow, and he would be so amazed by it. And back then we would like, this can we rather go shop, and And today, you know, if I look back at it, although it bored us, we've heard what he said and saw the beauty in those paintings, and I've learned so much by that. So you know, I didn't get to go to big museums and stuff like that, but that was already enough to inspire me a lot.
What other interests did you have in school? Was it sport or music?
Yes, I really enjoyed sport when I was more in the earlier days of my school life. I did do 100 meters, and I did some hockey, and there was quite a lot of sport that I enjoyed, just to be outdoors, and that was the fun part of being at school. So you just put all your energy in those things, like the sports. It's really more interesting for some struggler with concentration. So I really enjoyed that. But my mom took me to some piano lessons, but you know, most of those piano lessons that I attended was more very specific to read music, and that really bored me. So I just couldn't do it. It was just something that really did not interest me. And later on, I did take some guitar lessons where the guy did not show us any music, and he was just saying, "What song are we going to do today?" And you know, show us a few chords that we could use, and then I really fell in love with that. You know, so I think I'm just a little bit different in the way that I would rather like to play more out of the heart and to really from music. And so I never got far with music as a child. Today I still believe it's possible to still learn to play the piano. I would love to. I do have one, and sometimes just press a few notes, but it's something that I would have to put much more effort in if I want to do anything with it. But yes, and then there's other hobbies like crocheting, and I love that. And as I said earlier, also to bake and to spend time. So I think there's a creativeness that, you know, always knocks on the door. And I do paint for a living, but sometimes I really feel the need to just do something else creative as well, where that makes you feel calm, and it's so enjoyable, and it makes you feel alive, and the painting as well. But it's much more a work for me today, and I think I really enjoy even to move away from that sometimes and just do something else, crocheting or baking a quick little something, or so that's I'm also very interested in doing mosaic. I didn't do it yet, but it's a very big dream of me right now, and I think it will work great with my style as well. So that is something that I really want to pursue a little bit more. And so yes, there's always something creative besides the painting that always draws me in, and I would it's all, you always want to do something more, and I love that.
Your creative journey. So what else have you got that on your bucket list that you want to learn? The mosaic is probably the big one. There's the piano as well, as I said, but it's more a far off dream. It's not something that, you know, it will be just for fun more. And even the mosaic, but I can imagine that can be something that I will really enjoy, that will work well with my art as well, you know. So that's I try to think what else there's always, I
I just started. I can crochet very well, but I just decided that I have to be able to knit well as well. So I just started knitting as well. And just to do this in between, events and things like that, where and when we are on the road, you can do handwork like that. And it's good for me to be busy. And I am someone that always feels need to move and be busy. And, I cannot just sit and wait for a day to go over. So yeah, I mean, I don't have many more things that I really can think of right now that I'm dreaming of, but yeah, they will come. I promise you. It fluctuates all the time, and yeah, you always have something that you would love to try out and do. So
yeah, busy hands by the sounds of things.
Yes, absolutely.
And what about the hiking, though, Carla? Do you get outdoors and hike in Texas?
Yes, we as a family do like that as well, but it's very different. Those hiking trails that we did in South Africa was wonderful. They always had a little house without any electricity. It was just this like a little place where there's a lot of bunker beds in it. So it was quite nice that you don't have to carry your own tents and things like that. You had to carry obviously your own food and clothes and everything like that. And it was always overnight hiking trails. But yeah, we often get more just, day hikes, and we go do that quite often. So it's not that we don't do it, but it's not nearly the same experience, I would say, as we had as children, with those, weekends and even week hikes that we did. But we absolutely love that. We do get out a lot in the field right now with the plein air events that we are busy doing through the year, and it's very, very different and hard work actually, because you have to be up in the mornings very early before the sun even rises, so that we can catch the sun. So we will be up, me and my husband always travels with me. We will be up very early in the morning, and we will go out, and we will be out all day, searching for beautiful spots to paint, be out in nature, paint the painting. We will always have our little coffee stove and pot, and he will make me coffee. And we will sometimes just have a picnic or our lunch or breakfast or whatever right there in the field. And we spend a lot of time outside. And I think it's such a privilege. We see beautiful areas of this country, and we also get to, you're kind of forced to go out and go to beautiful areas, but then forced to even search for the beauty in the beauty. So we're literally driving and searching for the best spot of this beautiful area, and then you stop there, and then you get out and you paint it, and then you turn around and it's beautiful on the other side, and you get to smell it, and you get to breathe it in, and it's wonderful. So yeah, I would say that is probably the outside experience that I have right now, more than the hiking that I had in South Africa as a child. This is probably our outdoor experience right now, and we get to see extraordinary beautiful areas, and we love that.
How much of your time, your schedule, is teaching workshops now, Carla?
Not too much. I actually must do it more often. There's really a lot of people that always ask for it, and it is not something that I can't wait to do. I do enjoy it while I'm doing it. I'm always hesitant to organize it, and it's just I think with my language barrier in the past, especially when we just moved here, it was quite quite fearful to just think you have to go teach something in a language that's really not your first language. And over the years, we are here in the States now probably for the last 11 years. And, it becomes better as we go. And even things like a podcast like this would be really terrifying thought, but it's much better lately. I think, that also had an effect on how I was looking at teaching. But yeah, it's something that when I do it, I absolutely love it. People love it. The students love it. So I must do it more often. I do not have one coming up this year, but we normally do like 2 a year. At most, I would say. So it's not a lot, but it is something I enjoy. Just somehow don't ever look forward to it, but as soon as I am there, I really enjoy it. So yes.
What's a perfect day for you if you're not actually painting?
Just to be at home. I think we travel quite a lot lately with these plein air events. So to be at home is like heaven. It's more like the vacation feeling, where travel became more work for us, but in a good sense. We love it. But to be home with my children and my dog, and be able to go cook something if I want, or bake something if I want, and to just be very peaceful here at home is really a wonderful, wonderful experience to me. I love it. Even when we're home and there's a good weather, and or even sometimes when it's a thunderstorm or something like that, and just go drive around and look at the beautiful clouds is also a wonderful experience. But I would say a perfect day for me at this stage of my life would be to just be here in our house, grilling something outside in the garden, and just being peaceful and happy here at home with all the ones we love. Yeah.
Well, your husband Elroy works with you on the business too, so your business partners as well. That must help your productivity, I would imagine, and when you sell something, to get it out quickly. Talk about the structure you have then, the business model you have.
Absolutely. Yeah, I am so absolutely blessed with being able to have someone like him working with me. It is something that most of the other artists are really jealous about, and also not in a negative way, but it's like, oh, where can we get someone like that? Because even on these trips that we have, it is so wonderful to have someone that can fill in the forms and to write the little tags and submit some of the work online. So yeah, and I mean, I'm working hard in the field painting, but he will do the driving when we go there, and it's really far. All these events is all over the country, so we spend a lot of time on the road. And then also here from home, he's doing the framing. He's really doing all those organizing small little things, that artists hate to do. I mean, literally, you will talk to all these artists, and you will hear that, oh, they want to paint every day, but they cannot because they have to do the logistics as well. And so yeah, I'm really grateful. It also helps me a lot with the marketing and even the social media and all of that. It's really a pleasure to work together, and we work well together. We are married now 27 years, and really get along well, and yes, so it's really great, and he enjoys what he's doing, and I enjoy what I'm doing. So yeah, I don't have to do the left brain part of the business. He can really take care of all of that, and I'm very grateful for that. We are a great team, and I'm very grateful for him.
So advice to other artists would be find a partner who can work with you to do this.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's hard for most of them. So, and sometimes when some of them are a little older and, more retired, that can happen easily. But, most men do have their own something that they want to do, or career that they pursue. In our case, we just grew up into this, and somehow it works for us, and it makes us happy, and we can travel together, we can enjoy life together, we understand each other well, and it's quite a blessing. Yes.
So who sees your art first when you finished a piece? Is it Elroy?
Oh. Yes, probably. He if we are out in the field, he will probably be the very first one to see it, besides me. When we are here at home, the children sometimes also come by and see it. But yeah, Elroy is probably the first to see it, and yes, yeah, it is he.
So you're open to his critique then?
Yes, I am, and he has an interesting view sometimes that I really appreciate, yeah. So, I mean, sometimes he can also be like skeptical before we even start painting something. He would say, "Oh, I don't think this is going to work, but if you think so, you know." So sometimes it can also be kind of a struggle to really know that, okay, but this is what I want to paint, and I'm just going on with it if you think so or not. So but you know, and you sometimes have really good advice as well. So yes, absolutely. My son Daniel, he's 20 years old now. He also has a real good eye. Sometimes if I'm struggling with something and I'm feeling like, I wonder why doesn't this feel if it's working, I will sometimes call him. He really is artistic as well in his thoughts, the way he doesn't paint. So he can instantly tell me, oh, I think this is what it is. And it is always quite spot on. So I absolutely enjoy asking him sometimes for advice as well, or help to pick out some paintings for the competitions if we are done the whole week, you know, and you look at 12 to 15 paintings standing there and wondering what one you will enter for the competition. You know, it's sometimes a hard decision, and I will sometimes ask him as well to just help me with that. So both, I have to say, all three, the people in my house really are very helpful, and I absolutely want to hear their critique and learn from what they are seeing. And I think sometimes even with Elroy, you know, he sees it in an absolutely different way than me and Daniel will probably see it. And that is also very valuable to hear what he would see, just because he is more left brain and doesn't see it probably in such a creative way as we do. You know, he probably will see what stands out for somebody that looks out of his perspective as well. So yeah, it's very valuable and very grateful for other voices in the house.
How about your daughter Sarah? Is she artistic?
Oh yes, she's lovely, and she's 21 years old right now, and she just got married, and she is very artistic. Absolutely, she's very handy with her. You know, she loves working with her hands. She just started crocheting as well. I love doing. She will paint more often than Daniel would, and draw a lot. Although I never would say that any of my two children would. It seems if any of them would love to go into fine arts so much. And, Sarah is very creative, and I think it helps her sometimes also, as she got a lot of other things that really excite her. You know, this is to be creative, I think, makes her feel alive and just gather herself a little. So she do that often. So yeah, she's very creative. And Daniel then, on the other hand, he is a writer. So he writes, he loves writing. So he's artistic, or art comes out in his writing. Really, really loves that as well. So yes, both of them are very artistic.
What do you like to hear about your art? And I'm curious as to what kind of reactions you get, what people actually say about your art. Where does that, what you like to hear and what you actually hear, how does that meet?
Yeah, I think it as we said earlier as well, it really gives us joy know that people loves it and that people want it and people want to put it in their day-to-day living areas and spaces. So that is wonderful to hear. I do get a lot of feedback, where people would talk about how vibrant it is, how it makes them feel good, how it's brings joy, and there's certain words that always comes up when people give feedback, and I think it is good for me to hear that, because that is who I am. So if I would have heard the opposite, I think it would be kind of awkward, because that is not what I try to communicate, and I think art is such a big part of our communication as well. So, and without trying to start a painting and say, oh, I want to create joy and communicate this, it's just happening out of our passion and out of our hearts, that it's just a natural thing that happens. It is great to hear that feedback, that is actually what people are experiencing when they see it, and that's why they want it. And I always get wonderful feedback that is very heartwarming and makes me very grateful that people loves it.
Would there be anything, Carla, that people would be surprised to learn about you? Do you have a superpower you haven't told anyone about?
No, I don't think so. Superpower, let me think about it. No, absolutely. Absolutely not. I am just who I am. I am quite content, although I know I have lots to learn in life, and really a happy person that really enjoys just I think I really am able to see and experience the good in life and the beauty in life, and can easily take what is not so good and that would not make you happy, and just and rather focus on what is beautiful and what is and I think it is a choice. I think in every situation we have a choice. Will we ponder on what is negative, or will we just absolutely go for whatever we can find that is positive in a situation, and rather build on that? And I think that is a good way to sum up how I see life and experience life, and I'm more optimistic about things, and really always sometimes have to ask what is in this situation that I can focus on that is positive, because we are living in a very negative world at this stage, and to be happy, I think it's very important to focus on what is making me happy, and what is positive in a situation. So but I don't think to answer your question, I don't think I have any superpowers or anything like that.
Maybe they're yet to be discovered, Carla. You never know, do you?
Yes, perhaps. You never know.
Now, I just want to ask about the soundtrack to your life, because now some of your favorite artists on your playlist are Dave Brubeck and Norah Jones, and I think John Mayer too, you mentioned. But what were you listening to, though, as a child that influenced you and, would be the soundtrack to your younger life?
Oh, wow. It's quite hard to say. My dad is a real great musician himself. I grew up in a house where everybody except me could play the piano, and my mom studied music. My dad is one of those naturals that never could read any music, but he can play anything that exists, almost. He will just pick up the guitar and playing the piano for hours and hours and hours, and it's so beautiful. And he's just, and my sister again, she also took lessons from very early, and did it for years after school still. And I woke up every morning with scales. You know, it was just like that was how I wake up. And my dad always just would put on some kind of music, or even just the radio in the morning early. So there was always some kind of music playing in our house, but it's very random. I mean, it's not something very specific that I would say. He quite like jazz, and I think that's where the Brubeck and love for those kind of music comes in. And I mean, I just picked a few names that I could think of quickly, because I think I am quite. I can listen to literally anything. I absolutely love a lot of different kind of music. There's, you know, even our country has their own Afrikaans music that sometimes is fun to listen to. And I grew up in music. So my dad sometimes even had people over. You know, he would just pick a few good musicians, and they would all come make music in our house, and we will open the doors. And so there would be a drummer and a pianist and saxophone and trumpets and whatever you can think of, and they would jam together so beautifully. I mean, neighbors would go sit out on their porches to just listen to it, and it was so much fun and lovely. So yes, I absolutely enjoy good jazz, and but anything. I absolutely love music. But interestingly, I do not play a lot of music while I'm working. It's not, for me, it's not something that is required to be able to paint something. I will never out in the field put even earpods in or something like that to listen to music. I would rather just listen to the sounds of the fields and, you know, just whatever there is. And I think we concentrate so much on what we are doing. I remember when I was just after school, my mom also, I think the last year or two of school, and a year or two after that, my mom took me to a lady that I took some pottery lessons with. And oh gosh, I enjoyed that so much. That was just one of the most wonderful things I did in my life. And it was, you know, I would come home and tell my mom, I said, you know, I experience it when I'm working on this specific pot or something. That is the only time I am not thinking of anything else but what I'm doing right now. Otherwise, you know, we as women, our heads can be so very busy, and you always have like 10 windows open where, you know, you have to think of the children and this and this and this and this. And there's always, what food are we going to eat? And we have to do this, and we have to be in time for this. And, you know, there's just so much. And then emotional stuff that you have to sort out. And while we are sometimes doing our project, our painting, our art form, you can be so overwhelmed by that. And I think it brings so much peace to just relax and focus on what you are doing now, that I absolutely, I don't think we need music always to, you know, to get us in that mood. It's almost more the focus and the concentration to enjoy what we are doing. So I do not listen a lot to music. I mean, I do sometimes, but it's not a requirement, and it doesn't really set the mood for me. So yeah.
What does set the mood when you go into your studio? How do you transition from everyday your home life and routines to your art? Well, that is an interesting question. For me, I think it will probably be different from other people. I do really struggle to concentrate, and I have a very small concentration span. So I will concentrate for I can paint all day doing everything else and painting. So I can paint for 10 minutes and run and go put on food on the stove and start getting ready and run back and put another 6 colors on. And I will sometimes even, I think because I've had to work for these galleries, you know, and I had children back then that was small, you had to kind of find a way to be productive all the time.
with or without the realities of what's going on. So I think I am perhaps very blessed to be able to do whatever I want. While I can sometimes even have guests over or a friend that would sit with me while I'm painting, and it will not really bother me. I do not have to be so involved and away from everything. So I can, and I think that works well actually for me to have a shorter time span where I can work on it for a while and perhaps just focus on the clouds for now, and then go do something else. And then when I come back, I'm very excited again to just go for the next area of this painting. So, and I have a picture beforehand where I am working to, and I really work quite fast. So yes, I would not say that that other activities in the house really bother me that much. It's sometimes I would almost say is helpful, and when we do plein air, it's more of a focused, longer time span, because you have to do what you see right now, and you have to quickly capture it before the sun change everything on all the shadows and whatever. So then I'm forced to work and finish a painting on the spot. But when I work from home, I'm much more, it's not 2 hours in the afternoon that I'm quickly going to work. It is, I am going to do this today, and whatever time it takes, 10 minutes painting, 10 minutes sitting on the couch and, just answering some SMSs or whatever. So yeah, I just learned through the years to just make it work wherever and whatever is happening, and I can somehow luckily do that.
Now, you're represented in different countries around the world. Where can we find those galleries? Where would you be represented?
I do have a few here in Texas. There's one in Fredericksburg, and there is one in it's more closer to Dallas, and there's one right here in Austin as well. And I think it's probably on our website, all the names of them, because I cannot always, as my husband is always working with these things, I am not always so very updated with all the names and whatever. But then we have one in France and one in London as well, I know. And then there's a few in South Africa. And then I'm still selling most from our website. As you know, today it's so much easier. Earlier years, people could only find art in galleries. Today, people see a name and they just go to your website and buy it from the website. So I would say our biggest gallery is probably our website. And then we also do sell a lot on these events. So I think that is a great way for people over the country, in America now specific to, and wherever else events like this is happening, we have many people that will follow you to these events and come see how you paint, because these events give people opportunity to come see you literally paint, and they can learn from it and then come buy from these events. There's always a great selling opportunity at these events for all of us. So that is where we sell most of our work, but we do have a few galleries all over the world, as you said.
Well, you're clearly very productive, Carla, and lots of energy there, I can tell. Lots of energy coming from you to your work. So I'm sure I'm taking you away from it now. So thank you very much for taking time to come on the show and share your journey with us.
It was lovely. Thank you so much, Chris, for having me. What a privilege just to be speaking here on your show. And yes, I hope you will find wonderful lady artists to talk to in the future as well, so that we can all listen to them as well. Thank you so much.
And you'll find a link to Carla's website and to her social media in the show notes. You'll also find a link to our social media where you can join us on Instagram and on Facebook. And there's also our email address there if you prefer to write to us. If you have any suggestions for guests, we love to hear from you. Any comments or questions you have about the show, do drop us a line. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, of course, we love it if you leave a review and a 5-star rating, because that improves our rankings in Apple Podcasts and helps others find the show. My thanks again to my guest this week, Carla Bosch, and to you for listening. I'll be back next week, so I do hope you'll join me then.